So, jumping back into this, because I have too much, not enough space on my computer to keep that video going, and I am not editing this podcast because I do not edit things. Alright. Wow, we're at 52 minutes. So, opening up to support, and for adoptees, know that the only other people who will have any idea of what you're experiencing are fellow adoptees. And it's completely okay to ask for support. It's completely okay to ask for help, to lean on someone to cry on, to have an ear to listen to. It's completely okay. And be mindful of who you're sharing your feelings and experiences with. Other people won't understand what it's like to be an adoptee unless you're really an adoptee. So there have been so many times that I've wanted my parents, my adoptive parents, to have some sort of like reaction or response to new information that I hear about my biological family, or to a healing revelation that I've had. And they just don't get it because they haven't lived it. And so honor yourself, honor your experience, and celebrate you for you without asking for someone else to celebrate you too. Celebrate you for yourself first. And find the people that will celebrate with you the way you'd love to celebrate yourself. All right. Number 6. And we are almost done. For those still listening, like, what the hell, Allie, you keep talking. Number 6, give yourself permission to fully feel. It is so important to fully feel whatever comes up, because we are living in a society that shuns people for our emotions sometimes, or labels us as things and stuff, and it's just like, come on, we need to fully feel our emotions, because instead of repressing them or throwing them under the rug, because when we fully feel our emotions and we fully experience the full experience, we're then able to not only just allow for old wounds to become scars, but we're able to transmute, we're able to transform, we're able to evolve, we're able to alchemize whatever is going on. But if we keep throwing it under the rug, if we keep repressing it, if we keep saying it's not important, what are we saying to ourselves about ourselves? We're hiding ourselves. We're not letting ourselves fully experience life. Now, sometimes it's challenging to let ourselves fully experience some things. It doesn't feel good. It feels icky. It feels gross. It feels whatever. But when you gift yourself the opportunity to really, really feel something, even if it's something you don't want to feel, you're then able to move through it, and you're able to transform it into something greater, and you're able to get to a better place mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I know this because I have repressed so many things in my life so many times in the past 6 years. I have confronted nearly all of them. I would say all, but I know there's always more. And when I am able to sit in the discomfort, when I'm able to really face my shadows, when I'm able to really move through the darkness, life is more enjoyable. The more I've been able to grieve, the happier of a human being I've been. The more I've been able to sit in discomfort, the more joy I have felt every day. So give yourself permission to feel, and know that by fully feeling something, you will evolve from circumstances and patterns that are no longer serving you or that are hindering your growth. You will evolve no matter what. Now, number 7. This is a really important one, and this is one I'm still working on myself. Stay in your own hula hoop by respecting and honoring other people's experiences and perceptions. for being what they are, even if you don't agree with them. Now, you don't need to call people out for sharing their stories. If you're activated, that's an opportunity to look within yourself and find your own medicine, and there's no need to project a wound onto someone else. So the biggest one for me lately is that I am challenged with being okay with hearing about adoptive parents sharing their children's stories before their children are old enough to understand what adoption is, or what trauma is, or to even begin to realize how they feel, and that they might have low vibration feelings towards being adopted, that it might not all be fireworks and unicorns. And so I know that this upcoming month, that's something for me to work through more, that's something for me to accept more, to accept that there are parents who are sharing about their children who are under 10 years old and about their adoptive stories, and who are sharing it for the world. And at the same time that I think it's great that adoption is being highlighted more, as an adoptee, I am activated because I feel that the children I've observed aren't getting enough support from fellow adoptees, and that the adoptive parents haven't talked to enough adoptees to actually understand how traumatic it is of an experience to, one, be adopted in general, and two, have your story out for the world with millions of people knowing about your story. And that's just the life and the world of social media that we live in. The YouTube now, there are millions of subscribers to some of these YouTube channels about adoptive parents sharing their adoptive children's stories, and it's their story too. But at the same time, for me as an adoptee, I feel that it's the parents' responsibility to create a supportive structure and a supportive environment for the adoptee. And that means talking with adoptees, that means talking with adult adoptees, and that means me letting go of trying to control other people and how they're parenting their children. Just talked myself through that one. But it's frustrating for me because I know that as an adoptee child, it would have helped me to have more spaces and containers for me to talk about being adopted with other adoptees, and for me to talk to people who were older than me who were adopted, so that I could understand their perspectives, what they've gone through, what they've done for their healing, so that I no longer felt like I was constantly going to be rejected or abandoned any day of my life. And so seeing these stories and like this beautiful portrayal of gotcha days, which I hate that phrase, gotcha day, because I'm not a dog. I'm a human being, and a gotcha day is just, it sounds so insensitive to me. And so I'm still obviously navigating, accepting parents and social media and children's stories and social media. It's a sore subject for me because even though I love using social media myself and I love sharing my story myself, I'm over 18 and I have moved through a lot of blockages to have the courage and confidence to share. And I know that children don't have that universal perspective yet. They haven't grown to really understanding or understanding anything that's going on regarding their emotions and feelings, or it's just so much there. So that is what I am committed to accepting more of this month, is accepting that adoptive parents are sharing their children's stories before their children are old enough to share their stories themselves. And for me, I do feel activated by that because I I don't see what's behind the scenes. I don't see if there is support. I don't see if there are therapists. I don't see if there are coaches. I don't see the healing, the support system surrounding the healing of the trauma of adoption for these adopted children. And so that's where my activation lies. And for me, that's for me to find my own medicine with it. But I know that going into this month, there is a potential for me to be more activated by that in particular, or for me to feel hesitant about sharing my own story as to possibly activate someone else. And it's okay to feel. It's okay to feel a certain type of way about something. But because I feel this way around adoptive parents sharing their children's stories before their children are old enough to understand or to feel, to fully feel, and to decide if they want their stories shared, I'm not going to go and comment and say that it's inappropriate. I'm going to instead, if I do come across whatever it is, I will say, hey, it would be great I would love to talk to you to give you a perspective about an adult adoptee, or hey, here's a support group, or I would navigate it differently than how I would have a few years ago. Because a few years ago I would have said, out of anger or frustration, that, it would be great for you to think about the adoptee's perspective more. And the thing is, that's not for me to say. How can I provide more solutions to what's going on instead of throwing hate at what's going on? How can I meet an activation that I'm experiencing by meeting it with love instead of meeting it with fear or anger or hate? Because every action we take either fuels love or it fuels hate. And I used to take the route of hate with certain things when I would feel activated or when I would get frustrated. I would sometimes take hate. I would fuel hate. And I don't let myself do that anymore because that's just not who I am anymore. But it's a continuous reminder and a continuous analyzation of, where am I at right now? Why am I feeling this way? Why is this thought entering my mind to respond in this way? Is that a response or is that a reaction? If it's a reaction, I pause. Because I don't need to react. I can pause and wait and think about something, come back into my heart, and then choose to respond. And with any activation, there's always medicine. And if it's someone else sharing their story or someone that's sharing someone else's story or whatever the circumstance is, how can we meet that with more love, with more acceptance, and with more celebration for someone to have the courage to share? Because with sharing on social media, there's always a possibility of backlash, which has stopped me from sharing a lot this past year. And I'm now at a place where I'm like, you know what, fuck it. This is my story, this is my life, these are my tools, this is what's helped me, these are my perceptions. If someone's on board, great. If not, great. This is what I'm leaving behind, is what's helped me. Because I know that what has helped me will help at least one other person. And me letting a childlike moment of an unhealed wound of feeling unheard and feeling unseen block me from sharing medicine that might help someone else is me doing, what is that doing? I'm not serving as best as I can by letting something like that stop me from sharing medicine with someone who might need it. So all of this to say, stay in your hula hoop by honoring other people's experiences and perceptions, and it's okay to be activated or agitated at times. And in that unease, how can you then connect to your intuition? To paraphrase the Gene Keys, which is one of my favorite just, I don't even know how to phrase what Gene Keys is. It's literally one of the most beautiful gifts from God through Richard Rudd. But with unease, that which I experience at times, unease is the shadow. And actually, let me double check this. Unease is the shadow. And for me, I then step into the shadow and I think, okay, what is this unease? How can I fully feel this? What's in this for me? And with unease, it then leads me to my intuition, which is my gift. And then the more I move through my intuition, how do I really feel about something? I can then get clarity on the situation, which is the city. And I'm not explaining Gene Keys that well right now. However, that'll be another share. And another thing that I move through a lot with Gene Keys is agitation. And that's part of my life's work for Gene Keys, is moving from the shadow of agitation into the gift of initiative, of taking initiative, then into the city of awakening. And I'm totally doing a disservice to explaining Gene Keys well right now. So excuse me for this, because it's such a beautiful thing to unpack, Gene Keys. But if you are feeling agitation, how can you then get to the gift of initiative? How can you take that agitation and find a way to initiate something, to move from it, to move through it and move from it instead of staying stuck in it? And I used to let myself be stuck in agitation. It didn't serve me well. It didn't serve my relationships well. Same with unease. And moving into more of the intuition and more of the initiative has really aided and supported me in getting out of those spirals, getting out of that low vibration frequency. Just because if an adoptive parent boasts about their kid's adoptive story and I feel agitated, or if I feel unease or discomfort, or I feel activated around it because I don't feel like that child is in a conscious space to decide if they want it shared, am I that child? No. Is that my right? No. Do I need to throw hate towards someone else, or can I find love? Can I find, hey, let's bring more solutions to the table. Let's bring more adoptive support groups to the table. Let's hear one another's perspectives more. And let's honor ourselves for being on our own journeys, and for everyone having their own journey, regardless of what it may look like. And so those are my self-healer tips for navigating Adoption Awareness Month and whatever may come up in our lives. Keep coming back to yourself. Keep honoring yourself. Keep being you, and be you just for you. Don't be you to prove to someone anything. Be you just for you. And if you're going to prove yourself to anyone, prove yourself to yourself. May November come and go with ease and grace for all human beings everywhere, especially adoptees and adoptive parents and birth parents and biological parents, families too. And may each and every one of us create more harmony within ourselves so we can all live harmoniously together. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, if you desire any support, I am here. Our Adoptee Healing support group is held every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And you can sign up at the link in the show notes or at alliejamison.com. If you would like to be on the podcast and you've been impacted by adoption, or you want to share your story about how you've adopted yourself, I would love, love, love to have you on the podcast. I have some, you fill out the form at alliejamison.com or in the show notes, and I'm just super excited to have just a whole bunch more adoption episodes coming your way for Adoption Awareness Month and more, even throughout December and January too. So I love you all. Thank you for pressing play. And if you've made it this far in listening to this podcast at 72 minutes in, I love you extra, because this was an extra long episode unexpectedly. So, have a beautiful day of ease and grace, and may you be met with love. May you love yourself more. May you love this life more, and may we love one another more. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for writing a review. I love you, love you, love you. And if you know an adoptee, please send them this podcast and let's connect. I love you. Thank you for being you.